And we're broadcasting before a live audience.
Well, we turn now to Washington, where negotiations continue between the White House and Congress to break a U.S. budget deadlock to avoid a government shutdown. Without an agreement on spending for the next 6 months, money to operate the government runs out at midnight tonight. President Obama spoke late last night.
To talk about the possibility of a government shutdown, as well as the latest news from Wisconsin, we're joined by John Nichols, who is the Washington correspondent for The Nation magazine, associate editor of Capital Times in Madison, co-founder of this media advocacy group, Free Press, the organization behind the National Conference on Media Reform. John, let's start with the government crackdown, and then we'll go to Wisconsin.
Sure. I hope it's not a crackdown yet, just a breakdown. But the bottom line is this.
The possible shutdown.
Yes. The bottom line is this. This is an entirely false construct. The fact of the matter is that we have a government that's got plenty of money to keep going. This is not a fight about money. It is not a fight about budgets. This is a fight about gaming of the budget process. We have a group of Republicans who are saying the most critical overspending in the United States, the biggest budget that just has to be addressed, is that of Planned Parenthood, right? This is a comic lie. And the thing that troubles me the most, frankly, is that President Obama too frequently participates in that fantasy. What the president ought to be saying is, look, we have sufficient funds to run the country now. This is a game that's being played, and I refuse to do it. I won't participate. Instead, he's sort of gone into a bargaining process with these Republicans, and the fact is, they keep coming back and moving the goalpost. Every time the president says, yeah, let's compromise, I'll give up another program for the poor, they say, no, the poor are still eating. And so we're just going to have to intervene a little more here. So I'm very troubled by it. It's an unsettling process.
John, I want to ask you about your home state of Wisconsin. New votes we found on a race that occurred earlier in the week.
Now, Juan, you have covered some elections in the Bronx.
Yes.
And I've covered some in Chicago. And I know that things like this happen. But in Wisconsin, we're somewhat unfamiliar with this. Now, let me give you just a quick scenario. We have this huge election for state Supreme Court between a candidate closely tied to Governor Scott Walker. His name is David Prosser. He's the incumbent justice of the Supreme Court, being challenged by a woman named Joanne Kloppenburg. She wasn't thought to have a chance, but because of this uprising in Wisconsin, she swept up politically, very much a grassroots campaign, and tied David Prosser. So we're guaranteed headed for a recount until 2 days after the election, when a former aide to David Prosser and a former political aide and ally in the legislature to Scott Walker, who is now the county clerk of the most Republican county in the state, looked at her personal computer and found that, as the county clerk of that county, she had forgotten to count the votes of the second largest city in the county. And it happens that the votes from that city provided precisely the number of votes for David Prosser to avoid a recount. Some Wisconsinites are asking questions.
We've got 10 seconds. What do you think we should be looking at in Wisconsin right now?
The U.S. Attorney should impound the ballots from Waukesha County, as well as the computer equipment associated with this vote. They should look for all calls, and we should have a thorough investigation, count every vote, settle this election honestly.
John Nichols, thanks for being with us. We just have 20 seconds. Thank you to the live audience here at Democracy Now!, produced by Mike Burke and Aaron Mate and Renee Felton, Nermeen Sheikh, and Steve Martinez, Nicole Salazar, Hani Massoud, Robbie Karen. Thanks to Manal Khan and Renee Devereaux, Mike DeFilippo, and Miguel Noguera, engineers. Also special thanks to Becca Staley and Julie Crosby and Nick Gilla and Hugh Grant and Jessel Noor and Jessica Lay. Keep the phone calls coming in. I'm Amy Goodman with Juan Gonzalez.